the goal of this event anyway, it's to share some information, to give you also some information that you can play during Christmas dinner with parents and friends, so you can seem cooler and and explain, you know why we do the Christmas tree, you know why we have the nativity scene, so you can start a conversation. But apart this, I would like to share, actually in the nativity scene, it's written really the initiatic path. So it's everything is written there regarding a spiritual journey. Everything. It actually was done by Saint Francis when he came back from Middle East. He was in Egypt for a long time. Unfortunately, many books and actually most of the books and documents regarding Saint Francis have been occulted or completely removed, cancelled, because they contained a lot of esoteric and initiatic information. But at least we have the nativity scene, and not so many people know that actually it was Saint Francis who brought this. Anyway, the nativity scene is based on the Gospels, and especially the one of Luke, where all the birth is and the moment of the birth of Christ is described. Anyway, why do we celebrate Christmas in the beginning of winter? Another thing. So it's not only to give information, but also to share with you some information that can be helpful in the daily life. Because for me, spirituality, again, it's not knowledge only. It's love, knowledge, but especially real action is not just something that stays here, because if it remains all here, it's not really, it should be transformed into action. That's why we are here on this world, in the matter. And in the matter, we are facing a lot of challenge. And the true spirituality actually help us to face every kind of situation, because true spirituality and true spiritual knowledge help us to understand that actually this is fake as it's fake this. And so it's like, I like really the image of the one that is unveiling the veil. Because spirituality, it's, I mean, the spiritual real means infinite and eternal, and we believe we are just this matter, but actually this is a holographic illusion if you think that these are all atoms moving. So anyway, we know, probably, I'm sure that you know that during this period there are many other cultures and religions who have been celebrating something similar to our Christmas. I put here a nice image. Maybe not all the data here are correct, but definitely Zoroaster or Zarathustra was born also in Christmas. Ra, Heracles, Mithra, definitely. I wrote here also other divinities. Then I could add even more. So what does it happen in Christmas time? I actually didn't mention here. Yeah, at the end, I wrote Sol Invictus. I really like this name. And this was the name used by the Romans before Christmas, Christ time. And it was linked to the gods of the Roman Empire. And it was actually the win of the sun, of the light over darkness. You probably heard also, like in the Scandinavian countries, now they celebrate like Saint Lucy, for example. And what's going on the 21st of December? The 21st of December, the days start to be longer. The minutes and hours of light start to increase. And actually, I put this image because in almost all the main religions, on both the hemispheres, the 4 points, main points of the sun rotation around the Earth rotation around the sun are linked to what we call the cardinal holidays, cardinal feste cardinali, feste holidays. Okay, yeah, holy days. Okay. And for example, on our hemisphere, we have Christmas on the winter solstice, and then on the summer solstice, we celebrate on the 24th, we celebrate the day of Saint John the Baptist. And then we celebrate around the 23rd of September, we celebrate on the 29th, it's Saint Michael, the Archangel. And around the 21st of March, we celebrate Easter. Okay, we don't give so much importance to Saint John for, unfortunately, bigot Catholic beliefs, because in this period we should celebrate the entrance of the Archangel Uriel, and Saint John, usually it's linked, and Saint Joel and the Archangel Uriel are linked to the fire, but it's not the same fire of Saint Michael in September. It's the fire more, it's the material fire. Probably, I don't know if in your culture or countries you celebrate the day of Saint John with fires on the street. In Italy are famous the fuochi di San Giovanni. There are streets and they put fires on the street in some regions. And it's the fire also connected to the sexual energy. Anyway, we are now in the winter time, so we're going to focus on winter. Then in summer, we're going to do another event regarding the Archangel Uriel that was completely hidden from the church, and Saint John. And in March, we have Easter and Saint Michael. And all of this, what happens on the earth? Okay, the inclination of the rays of the sun come in a different way. The rays come with a different inclination on our hemisphere. And even if you don't believe in astrology, but I guess that all you people that are here do believe in this thing. But anyway, I always like to give a pragmatic explanation. In the sun has a very strong effect on all the nature. It means that in spring, magically, because of the special temperature, the special inclination of the rays of the sun, flowers start to bloom, and everything in nature starts to rebirth again. So after an apparent death of all nature, which is during Christmas, then we have a rebirth on Easter. And actually it's similar, everything is symbolic. Easter is the celebration of the exit of Jesus from the sepulchrum, from the cave with the big stone that was on the front. So actually this is what happens to the seeds that are planted on the earth. And then what happens in the springtime, they go out. So that is a sort of resurrection. And everything, also the animals start to go out from their moment of lethargy. I am just making up words anyway. Some animals, they sleep during winter time. So what's going on during the solstice of winter? Okay, first of all, we said the moments of light are starting to increase. And this is similar. That's why also other cultures before Christ, they were celebrating the win of the sun, or of the light over darkness. But in nature, what is happening? In autumn, it's happening that the fruits are really mature and they start to fall down. All leaves fall down, and then the rain pushes them down the soil. And actually, the symbolism of Saint Michael on the 29th of March is actually the symbolism. And also, we in astrology we have the sign of Libra at that time, and the sign of Libra, and actually Saint Michael, the Archangel Michael, has one sword, and then on the other end he has a scale. So if you ask to a priest, probably they know the statue, but they don't know why they have a scale. The scale is a Libra, and Libra is connected to that period of the year. And why a scale? Because at that period of the year, on this scale, we have to put and to start to cut away all the stupid things that we don't need anymore. So this is a moment of cutting. And I'm sure that this year, thanks to the blessed pandemic, you were obliged to cut a lot of stupid things from your life, I'm sure. Sorry, I'm laughing because anyway, it's funny in some way. It's I know it's painful, but no pain, no gain, and this is what the universe is shaking us, because so far we are just wasting time partying. I'm talking about myself, and and now they said, okay, this Christmas you have to stay home, and you have to do a proper holy, and you are celebrating in a really sacred way this period of year. So autumn time, Michael and the Libra sign is the moment of cutting away the things. So then once you cut all the stuff, the dried branches go down, the leaves go down, the fruits go down, they decompose, and then remains only the seed. And the seed with the rain, it starts to go down and down and down and down. And then magically we find ourselves in winter time. In winter time, then we have the seed under the soil, and it's very, very cold. The rain starts to slow to decrease, and probably we start to have the snow in some part of the world, and everything seems dead. And there is also in some symbolically we can use let's take a northern country of Europe, for example. We can imagine also a layer of snow on the soil. Apparently the seed that is so down on earth, it's completely surrounded by darkness, by pressure of the earth, and there is even an evil layer of snow. But actually this snow is protecting the seed, is creating a sort of thermic protection. And the seed at some point, to really start to the process of germination in order to be ready then for the spring equinox to reborn, it must die. So this is what it has to happen in this period. Symbolically, actually, the nature shows us the way. The thing is that we feel disconnected from the nature. So if in springtime everything is blooming, why shouldn't we do the same thing? Why don't we think that we are also like flowers and animals? That why don't we understand that the same effect of the sun on the animals and flowers and plants, and we have the same effect on us? Why don't we think that in December we have the same effect of what is happening to the seeds, to the trees? So, and that's why the ancient, the initiates, the masters of humanity throughout all the history, they created a symbolism to explain this journey. And when I talk about, also during past events, when I talk about the story of Jesus, I always say, look, I cannot tell you, I do believe in the historical existence of Jesus. But if you don't believe, it's fine. You can take it as a sort of a symbolical journey. But what is definitely historical and objectively true is that someone wrote the Gospels. And who wrote the Gospels was a master, because there it's enclosed a lot of the initiatic, the spiritual path. It's written a lot, everything is written there. Also prophecy for the future, and it's very actual. And if can be useful in the next events, I would love really to talk and go deeper in the symbolism of the Gospels. But today we're going to take just a little part. Anyway, here there was a picture showing how the moon has effect on the tides and water. So let's imagine what the sun has on us. And also, okay, this is a huge cycles of humanity. Just to explain that sometimes very ultra Catholic or ultra Christian, they think, okay, only Jesus was the master. And then I would ask, but don't you think God was maybe a little bit more loving and caring of us, and sent us maybe some other people to help us, not only one. And actually, this is, if we're going to see the story, we had many masters. And because the time is cyclical, and why do we need masters? The question I would ask even to the most skeptical person is, have you ever gone to school? Why did you need a master or a teacher? Would you really study not psychology or physics or nuclear, whatever, science without a professor, without starting from a book that someone else wrote? It's like we are really arrogant. We as a humanity, like we think that for learning chemistry, we need definitely a book and a professor, but why don't we think that maybe we need also, sometimes it's useful to follow the master's teaching of the past. We are so arrogant to think that we don't need any master. And master, I'm not talking about physical master, like we can just go and read the story and lifetime of many initiates and saints, from the east to the west. Anyway, so usually we have Saint Mary, Joseph, the little child, the ox, the donkey, then we have a star, and we have then three mages, or the wise kings. We have shepherds, and we have a star on the top. So, and what does it mean? Again, this is a path of an initiatic journey. Initiatic means that you get complete control over yourself, over your emotions, over your mental body, over your body. And once you completely control yourself, so you can face every kind of situation, because you can use your mind in a most brilliant way. You can you're not attacked in the emotion, because you know how to you will not feel sad or angry, for example. And then also your willpower will be very, very strong. And once you can do that, then you magically you will achieve the superior realms. I will show later a little scheme that can explain what I'm saying better. Anyway, for the child to be born, we need a couple. In this case, we have Saint Joseph. That actually is not really the father of the physical father of Jesus, and Mother Mary. So they represent the male principle and the female principle. In all religions, everything, you will see always this duality, the two polarities. The symbol of the cross, it's male principle, female principle. The symbol of the Star of David, it's male principle, female principle. The symbol of the lingam is like a male phallus and a cup on the bottom. And many more we're going to see also for Christianity. Also the ankh, the Egyptian cross, actually it's like a cross like this, and then there is a little circle, and that is again the female principle and the male principle. The thing is that these two sacred organs for the mediocre people just would have caused laughing, and that's it's not an information that can be given to everybody, because not ready to know the real power of these principles. Anyway, in this case, for the Christ to be born, the Christ himself will be the birth of the Christ within ourselves. So we need a male principle. A male principle, what is the male principle? Male side, if we talk about hemisphere, we can think about the right hemisphere. So it's rationality, willpower, determination, strength, courage. Do you have other suggestion for male principle? We can actually make a brainstorming and write down a lot of things. Okay, if you want to add, feel free. And the female principle, the male principle is emissive. So it's like emissive means to start things as well, to do things. It's action. The female principle is emotions, love, tenderness, receptivity. The male principle is talking, talking, talking. The female principle is listening, 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 caring, empathy. The female principle is humility as well. The two, we're talking about principles. And what happens here? Okay, then I can go more on the spiritual side. Then we have a ox. Let's remember that the ox, okay, the Saint Francis was in Egypt before bringing this to Italy, and the ox is also connected to the god Anubi, not Anubi, sorry, I wrote it, Obi, I forgot the name. Anyway, it's a god of fertility. But as you can imagine, what is a ox? It's a bull that sexually is not using his sexuality, let's say. And how would you represent a donkey? What kind of characteristic would you give to a donkey? Someone who is, if you say something to a donkey,
it's stubborn.
Yeah, exactly. Stubborn, yes. And why are there? It's strange. There should be maybe there could be a dog, a tiger, a monkey. They chose a donkey and an ox. Another thing, and then I'm going to explain that. In the story of Saint Luke, the Mother Mary and Saint Joseph, they were looking for a place where to give birth, for Mother Mary to give birth. And they went to the taverns and locanda, how do you say, like the guest house, let's say, of the past. And they were rejected everywhere. There was no space. There was nothing for them. And then they were directed into, how do you call the stalla mangiatori? Is a grave.
Stable.
Sorry?
For me, it's stable. I don't know what the religious one is, but
Okay, actually, it's the place where there are the animals, or in a sort of cave, some say. Anyway, it was a very humble and poor place in the silence, far from the locanda, from the guest house and the restaurants of that time. So, when you can make marry, let's say, unite the two principles. So I'm talking now, I'm doing a generalization, considering that a woman can have a stronger male principle than a man and vice versa, okay? But just doing, allow me this generalization. So a woman that normally, statistically talking would have a stronger female principle. So she has to marry Saint Joseph. I'm not talking about a physical one, please don't take it in literally, but we have to a woman should spiritually marry is a male principle. So if normally a woman would have this tenderness, openness, receptivity, listening, empathy, should improve the male side. So be more brave, taking more action. It's not that they don't do it. Again, I'm just generalizing and extremizing the two principles. putting on the side of empathy also the wisdom. And the Saint Joseph, old man, should marry. So if the woman is very receptive, should start also to be emissive, should become a leader, first of all, of herself, and then can lead the others. And I really hope that more and more women start to lead, because we need leaders with more heart. And definitely women, just because they're women, they have more empathy and heart, just for contrast when they were born in this life. And the men, all the Saint Josephs around the world, should marry their female part. This is what the Rosenkrusen was calling the alchemical wedding. So men should listen more, should be more empathetic, should be more tender, kinder, should improve their goodness, their love. Once this is achieved, and it's not easy, then at the same time, okay, to survive, we need the help of those two animals, the ox and the donkey. And who are them? The ox actually is the control over sexual energy. Okay, this is a very advanced level. If you want to become an initiate and a master, you definitely need to control your sexual energy. So don't worry, I'm not saying to completely stop your sexual activity. Definitely do it with love if you can. But in this case, we're talking about the path for becoming really a wise master. And the more you go ahead on the spiritual path, the more this sexual energy increase. And in the nature, this is explained by many masters with the symbolism of the tree. The more the tree goes high, the more the roots go down. So if talking about chakras, we see that the bottom chakra are linked to the sexual energy and to the life chakra. And the more we go high, the more we go ahead, definitely the sexual energy increase. Someone, I think Kylie, you asked me someday regarding the masonry and the 33 degrees we were talking about. You know, masonry use also there are 33 degrees of masonry to become a higher master. And actually these degrees are linked to the number of the vertebrae of the spine. And they are 33. And actually it's because the sexual energy is going, it's a sort of a flow of energy that go throughout our spine in the both direction. And it's like we receive sexual energy. It's like receiving nuclear energy from the sun. We always, all the time, receive this kind of energy. It's sort of like being connected to electrical great, huge generator. But what does it mean? Let's say, let's use the image of a sort of building with 100 floors. So this energy arrives, we receive it from the top, but actually we let it going down from the ground floor. So the building, we receive the energy, it passes through all the building of 100 floor, and then we let it go down when we just use sexuality in a spiritual way. And this means that this energy then cannot go back to warm up all the inhabitants of all the other 100 floors. And so they will starve or they will die from lack of heat. Or if we can use this image. But the initiates who know this law, they will not allow this energy just to be wasted, but they will make it going up again and then down and up. And so it's like a circle. It will go back. It will not stop here. And this is what it's the Kundalini awakening, because it will turn on all our chakras. And this is not something easy. This must be done with the help of a master. And anyway, this is not today that I'm going to talk in the specific regarding this. But anyway, the symbolism of the ox is the control of sexual energy. But why controlling? It's not because we are going to be punished or something for a sort of masochistic law. No, it's because it's a creative, if you think about the sexual energy, with the sexual energy, we can create, we become creators, as God is a creator, or the universe, if you don't want to use the word God. And this creativity can become matter. Okay, if we are going to do a child, we are actually going to create the make matter this sort of energy. But if we are not going to do any child, then this energy is transformed into creativity. So masters get knowledge like this. They can access the Akasha Chronicles. These are called the sort of recordings that are on the other side of the veil. And they can, because they can use this creative power. And what about the donkey? The donkey in the past was linked to the planet of Saturn. Anyway, not going more into astrology, who is the stubborn part of ourselves? It's our lower self. It's our, what we call the personality. I usually do a difference between individuality and personality. Individuality, let's say, it's more linked to our soul, to our higher aspiration, needs, and our higher mind, unconditional love. And then we have a personality. Personality comes from persona. Persona from Greek was a personus in Latin. It was a mask that they were using in the Greek theaters. And persona means the sound that goes through. So personality is actually our mask. It's not really who we are. It's our egoistic, selfish part of ourselves. And this part is really stubborn. And if you don't believe me, for example, I can give you some example, like we know that something is really bad for us, like, I don't know, smoking. Some of you smoke. I'm sure from your faces, all of you smoke at least joints, or I'm joking. I'm joking. You know, for example, this relationship is not good for me. This is something, I know that I shouldn't eat kilos of chocolate every day. But it's very hard to get rid of these negative behaviors. That is our stubborn part. Even though we offer stubborn part, or all the selfish attitudes. It can be vanity, it can be anger, it can be hunger. All the animal instincts, actually, yeah, I mean, all the animal instincts are part of our personality. And so the sexual instinct is linked to the ox, all the others to the donkey. And why these two animals are there? As you can see, they are still alive, they're not killed. And actually, they are necessary to warm the cave. This is the function in the Nativity Scene. So they could light a fire and that's it. If you think about it, it wasn't hard to light a fire, but they used animals. And so you understand that actually this is a symbolism. And this is what we have to do. We shouldn't kill our sexual pulsion. We shouldn't kill our vanity. We shouldn't kill our anger. We can't. If we try to kill these parts of us, we're going to kill ourselves. It's like cutting the roots of the trees. As I said before, the more the tree goes high, the more the roots go down. And by cutting these roots, you kill the tree. What you have to do is that instead of feeding and focusing on the roots that must be there, you have to focus on the top side and use the energy from the roots. It's like, I shouldn't eat the roots, I should eat the fruit. I should focus more on the leaves outside. When you are taking care of a tree, you're not going to dig down and caressing the root and No, you're giving water, that's it, to make it alive, but then you're going to fix the topper part of the tree. What does it mean? It means transmutation, sublimation, for example. Sex on energy. Okay, for example, I know that I did experiments before awakening in some way. I'm still sleeping, but anyway, I was doing a lot of things, and one of those things was doing a comedian. I was writing stand-up comedies. And I don't know if you believe me, but I have also the proofs. Anyway, and I realized that actually when I was controlling my sexual energy, I was more creative. So I was really using that energy to write. I was able to write more funny things, a lot of things more. And actually, I don't know if you experience that stuff. I'm talking about men, but probably for women it's the same. Like when you're not wasting, in brackets, wasting that energy, you feel more brilliant, rapid, and yeah, it's like you have your thought is faster. And for men, that energy gives you really, like, it makes you become a poet, not an artist, and really gives you a creative thought. But also, for example, vanity. You can have vanity, you can transform it into, like, okay, I like to appear in front of people, I like to appear good. So you can use this, instead of using for yourself, you can do it for the others in some way. For example, my master was saying, he was always well dressed. He said, I have a vanity, but instead of using it for myself, I will use, instead of doing things to seduce people, seducere from Latin means to bring at yourself, toward yourself. So instead of seducing, I'm going to condurre in Italian. Conducere in English is to lead, leader. So it's to take with, not to take with me and toward me, but to take with. So instead of using sexual energy to take with me, I use this energy to create and to give something. Instead of using vanity to seduce, I will use it to lead. Instead of using anger, I will transform it into strength, courage, determination, being brave, and so on and so on and so on. So then, okay, we have now the two animals, and they are blowing to give this. Once this happens, the star appears. The star appears, and the star is the enlightenment symbolism. And the star is usually represented by a pentacle. So there are five segments, and these 5 segments are linked to 5 virtues of wisdom, love, truth, goodness, and justice. Love, wisdom, goodness, justice, and wisdom, and truth. So these are the 5 virtues that then come on the top of the initiate. And then all of a sudden, 3 wise kings will come to you. If you can achieve that, the 3 wise kings means that many people will come to you because you will be very wise. And also people, even kings, will come and ask you your wisdom. And they will, the symbolism of bringing these 3 presents is because these 3 wise kings, they recognize that Jesus was a king. The gold is connected to the royalty of Jesus. The incense is connected to the purity, and the mirror. So he was a spiritual king, and the mirror is connected to at the time it was used for the mummification, to keeping the bodies after death in the Egypt. So let's remember the time. So mirror is the symbolism of eternal king, or spiritual king. And this is not happening only to Jesus. This is an instruction for all of us to become like Jesus. And also in the Gospels, Jesus said, you will do even more than what I'm doing. And this is true. He didn't say when, but we are actually on the path of evolution, and we have evolved a lot. And especially we are now going incredibly fast. And why is it in the cave? Why they were rejected from the guest house and the restaurants in the city? Because when you're doing this work, when you start to work on yourself, when you open to spirituality, usually you are not accepted by the mass. The mass usually, with all this noise, all the alcohol, all the okay, I'm saying alcohol because the symbolism here was of the rest. How do you say locanda in English? It's like the ancient word for tavern. Let's say tavern. Once you are waking up, probably you will have this need, or you will be obliged to change friends, or manually, like you don't have to do anything. It's in some way, because of other laws, or like for example, law of resonance. You will change a network of friends, you will change partners, probably you will change also work, because you don't fit anymore there. But let's be careful, because then Jesus went back to the people. He didn't say, okay, now I'm a master and I stay only with the master and I talk, let's talk only to each other. No. It's important then to go back, pure as the doves and smart as the snakes, of course. I cannot share this information with everybody. I know, I'm aware. I'm in the world, but not of the world. This is what St. Paul was saying. So I was taking note of and then the shepherds with the sheep. So these are the presents we are going to receive, because then the next event we are going to do at the end of this month, I will go into details on how to do this work on the principles, what we can do daily to become like Christ and then help the others. So I will give a really practical details, tools, and we can create together daily schedule routines in order really to achieve incredible improvements. So I'm coming back because my back is hurting, and then the ox smells a little bit. And okay. I took notes because otherwise... another symbolism is that usually during Christmas time, we used to eat something. Okay, it's a special moment of the year where we really need, as the seed, to stay a little bit with ourselves. It's very important to receive consciously these cosmic waves coming from the sun. In other events, I explained that the sun would represent what the nucleus represents for a cell, for an atom. And usually in the nucleus, it's written the DNA. So as the nucleus sends the DNA to the rest of the cell, so the sun sends us its information. At the same way as a seed is equal, if you see a seed of a big oak, a big tree, it's just a little seed, insignificant seed. But that contains all the information. One day will become like the tree, and even bigger than his father. So we are little seeds here. So, and this, I hope it gives hope. Everything evolves, everything grows, and evil is just like... I'm going a little deeper in the natural interpretation. When the seed starts to germinate, before becoming a tree, it will face wind, water, storms, animals, a lot of challenge, until it becomes a strong tree of strong wood. And then it will become a place for giving fruits to the others. But at the beginning, it will be just a very little weak how do you call it, before a flower, germoglio. Anyway, what is germinating? A little piece of grass. Okay. So this is what happens, and this is what is going to happen to all all of us on the spiritual journey. And during this time, it's a tradition to eat. Why? Because you feed. I'm sorry now to stay in front of. You need to feed the child, and symbolically, the child is being feeded by the blood of the mother when is in the uterus, and then it's feeded by the milk. And actually we have the symbolism of the red, the blood, and the white. And that's why Christmas, everywhere we see white and red. This is something also we see on Easter. But why is that? Okay, milk and blood, but also, this is at one level, but also on another level, before the child is conceived, we have again the white and the red. The red is the blood of virginity, connected to symbolic of the virginity, and the white is the symbolism of the man seed. They unite together. So again, white and red, now you know why we use this with these symbols. You can say it when you are having Christmas dinner with your parents. You can say that the white is the seed, and I'm sure they will enjoy. But actually, this gives more meaning to everything. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Obrigado. Благодаря.